Part 1. Introduction. A new love story begins. It was a warm, luminous afternoon in the Costa del Sol, the famed southern coast of Spain where the Mediterranean Sea kisses. If you like the video, please subscribe and comment. Golden sands, and where celebrities often escape from the demanding rhythm of fame. But no one anticipated that in July 2025, under the Andalusian sun, a love story would begin that would send waves across the Turkish entertainment world and possibly beyond. Barış Arduç, known for his magnetic screen presence, athletic grace, and reserved demeanor, had recently wrapped a major film project. Elçin Sangu, radiant with her unmistakable red locks and fiery spirit, had taken a break after a high-profile drama. Both stars, known to the public for their professional chemistry but never for any romantic connection, coincidentally found themselves at the luxurious Marbella Sapphire Resort. Or was it coincidence at all? According to close sources and resort staff, the meeting was unscripted, serendipitous, and within hours, the energy between them was unmistakable. People thought they were acting at first, said a hotel guest who witnessed their first meeting. It felt like a scene from a movie. Thus began what many are calling the most unexpected love story of the year. Part 2. Setting the scene. The Spanish paradise where it all started. The Marbella Sapphire Resort is not just any destination. It's one of the most exclusive hideaways on the Iberian Peninsula. Hidden behind lush gardens, rolling hills, and private Mediterranean beachfronts, the resort caters to the elite, royalty, global CEOs, and stars seeking refuge from paparazzi lenses. Nestled just west of Malaga and perched on the sea's edge, the resort offers more than indulgence. It offers privacy. Suites are secluded, entrance is private, and staff sworn to secrecy. For Barış and Elçin, it was the perfect place to pause, reflect, and, as fate would have it, reconnect, not just with themselves, but with each other. Both actors arrived within 24 hours of each other, sources confirmed. Barış was reportedly with a small circle of friends, enjoying the post-filming relaxation. Elçin had arrived alone, looking to escape city noise and reconnect with her inner calm. Neither knew the other would be there, but that would soon change. Part 3. The unexpected encounter. A moment meant to be. It was the kind of day that seemed painted by an artist. Sunlight filtered through the palms, the air smelled of sea salt and jasmine, and a gentle breeze rustled the cabana curtains at the Marbella Sapphire's exclusive Serenity Beach Lounge. Barış, in casual white linen and dark sunglasses, had just finished a morning swim. He settled into one of the shaded beachfront lounges, a cold lemon soda in hand, chatting lightly with a childhood friend. From a distance, the waitstaff noticed he appeared more relaxed than usual, perhaps because no cameras had followed him here. Perhaps because something in the air already felt different. Moments later, Elçin entered the same beachfront lounge. She wasn't dressed like a celebrity. A simple sky-blue dress, a straw hat, and bare feet carrying sandals in hand. No makeup. No entourage. Just her and her unmistakable aura. As she walked toward an empty corner lounge, their eyes met. Witnesses later said there was a pause in the air. Barış had looked up as she passed by, and Elçin, recognizing him only a second later, gave the faintest, warmest smile. It wasn't just surprise, it was recognition. As if the universe had arranged this meeting, he stood. "Elçin?" he asked with a half-laugh, brushing back his damp hair and stepping forward. "Barış," she responded, equally stunned and amused. "Are you following me?" she teased, her voice teasing yet unsure. They both laughed. It wasn't the first time they had met. The two had worked together on a popular romantic series years ago. Audiences had long adored their on-screen chemistry, but their personal lives had never overlapped. Until now, without realizing it, they both gravitated toward the same shaded area near the lounge's edge. What started as a friendly reunion turned into an hour-long conversation, uninterrupted and unbothered by the curious glances of onlookers. They looked like two people who had been waiting to find each other again, said Maria, a long-time server at the resort. You don't see that very often. Something gentle but intense passed between them. Part 4. Sparks fly. Love at first sight. That afternoon on the Marbella shore unfolded like something out of a Mediterranean love poem. While the world beyond their resort lounge hummed with summer chaos, inside the tranquil coastal oasis, Barış and Elçin existed in a quiet bubble, two people reconnecting not just as colleagues, but as something more. What began as casual reminiscing quickly deepened. Their conversation floated effortlessly from shared memories on set to personal philosophies on solitude, fame, and love. Elçin's laughter, light and sincere, echoed across the beach cabanas. Barış, known for his composed presence in public, couldn't hide the glint of curiosity and admiration in his eyes. "I always thought you were a mystery," she said, sipping from a fresh coconut water. Barış chuckled. "And I thought you were fire-wrapped in silk." Neither of them blushed. Instead, they smiled as though they had always known this moment would come. As the afternoon wore on, the resort's guests, many unaware of the stars among them, gradually faded into the background. Elçin and Barış walked barefoot along the shoreline, the wet sand clinging gently to their ankles. They paused often, sometimes to point out a sailing boat, other times to exchange looks that needed no translation. He offered her his sunglasses when the light hit her face, a lifeguard later recalled. It wasn't dramatic. It was delicate. You could tell something real was unfolding. By evening, they were seen at the resort's cliffside restaurant, seated at a private table under twinkling lights. No one else sat near them. It wasn't a strategic decision. It simply happened that way. They didn't check their phones. They didn't pose for pictures. There was no entourage. Just long silences, warm looks, and occasional laughter that made other diners glance over in envy. Barış was seen reaching for Elçin's hand across the table at one point. She didn't pull away. Instead, she let her fingers rest in his. The staff, sworn to confidentiality, kept a respectful distance, but whispers began circulating behind closed kitchen doors. "They're not just here. They're happening." Part 5. Their Days in Paradise. A love unfolds under the Spanish sun. For the next 5 days, Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu vanished from the outside world, at least emotionally. They weren't hidden behind bodyguards or fences, but in their own little universe, shielded by emotion, trust, and an unspoken connection that deepened by the hour. While the Marbella Sapphire Resort is known for its luxury, even its regular guests noticed something more romantic than usual in the air that week. The two stars became regulars at the beach in the early mornings and the infinity pool just before sunset. They walked together through the resort's gardens, stopping often to admire old olive trees, wild roses, and the quiet company of each other. "They weren't glued to each other like so many couples who want to be noticed," said Carmen, one of the resort's private concierges. "But their rhythm was identical. They moved in sync. That's not something you can." In the early mornings, Barış would swim laps while Elçin read from a small notebook she carried. Sometimes, she wrote in it while he floated nearby, watching her with quiet intensity. When he returned to the pool deck, she would hand him a note, one of her poetic thoughts, perhaps, or a playful comment, and he'd fold it into his towel with a smirk. In the afternoons, they explored the nearby village of Benahavis, where they visited tiny art galleries, shopped for local ceramics, and shared tapas in little-known cafes. Locals, not easily starstruck, kept their distance, though several later admitted they'd seen something rare. One afternoon they sat in a courtyard for hours, said the owner of a family-run olive oil shop. No phones. Just wine, music, and each other. He played with her hair like they'd been together for years. She looked at him like he was her secret. At night, they retreated to the cliffside suite Barış had booked. It overlooked the sea, with a private plunge pool and floor-to-ceiling glass walls. Staff were under strict instruction not to disturb them unless called. The couple requested room service only twice, once for breakfast, once for wine and fruit at midnight. Their intimacy didn't feel like a performance. It felt like surrender. And in a world where most celebrity romances are built on appearances and speculation, Barış and Elçin seemed to build theirs on truth, stillness, and the joy of rediscovery. One evening, as a red-orange sun dipped into the sea, they were seen dancing, alone, on a patch of grass behind the villa. No music, no shoes, just the sound of waves and each other's breathing. They weren't rushing anything, said Maria, the same server who had witnessed their first meeting. It was as if they were making time stop. Part 6. Escaping the public eye, a love hidden in plain sight. For two of Turkey's most recognizable stars, living without scrutiny is almost impossible. But for those 6 days in southern Spain, Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu lived what some would call a miracle: anonymity. No fans with selfie requests. No photographers hiding behind shrubs. No media reports breaking their every move. It wasn't just the location, it was their deliberate silence. Neither of them posted a single photo on social media. Friends back home assumed they were each on solo vacations. Their teams remained quiet, possibly in the dark or intentionally cooperative. Even their hotel check-ins were done under discreet aliases. It was a rare window of freedom, one they didn't take for granted. They didn't act like celebrities at all, said Lucia, a resort housekeeper. They tidied up after themselves, said thank you in Spanish, left notes of kindness. If you didn't recognize them, you'd think they were artists or writers. But for all their efforts to remain unnoticed, the world has a way of catching up. On the 5th day of their stay, a tourist couple from London posted a blurry sunset photo on Instagram. In the corner, hardly noticeable unless you zoomed, two familiar silhouettes stood on a balcony, one with fiery red hair, the other tall and broad-shouldered. Within hours, fan forums erupted. Is that Barış and Elçin in Spain? Did they go together? It has to be them. Look at her hair. They are holding hands. Turkish entertainment journalists began probing. One outlet even attempted to call the Marbella resort for confirmation but was met with polite refusals and a standard privacy clause. Despite growing online buzz, the couple made no public comment. Not a denial. Not a wink. Silence. And that silence became their greatest protection. Back at the resort, aware that whispers might be brewing back home, Barış and Elçin didn't seem bothered. If anything, their last 2 days became even more intimate. They took longer walks. They shared more private meals. They were seen sitting side by side, not talking, just watching the waves roll in. It felt like they were choosing peace over performance, Carmen, the concierge, said. They knew the world might come knocking, but they weren't going to answer until they were ready. That readiness, it seemed, would come only after the story was truly theirs. Part 7. What friends and insiders say. Whispers from those who know them best. Back in, the growing speculation surrounding Barış and Elçin's Spanish escape didn't go unnoticed by their closest circles. While the public devoured blurry photos and speculated over timing, their friends and former colleagues were more guarded. But some couldn't hide their excitement. They always had something, said a former assistant director from the series that made them famous. Even when the cameras stopped rolling, they'd laugh at the same jokes, pause at the same scenes. It was never forced. They just aligned. A stylist who worked with Elçin during her last photo shoot in June noticed a change just before the trip. She seemed lighter, the stylist shared. She told me she was going on a solo vacation. Said she needed air and freedom. Now I realize, maybe it wasn't just freedom she was looking for. Similarly, Barış's fitness coach, who trained with him just before he flew to Spain, hinted at something unspoken. He was distracted. Calm, but distracted. Asked if he was tired, and he said, "No. I just feel like something good is coming." I thought he meant a project. Now it makes more sense. Even their managers have remained unusually silent. One entertainment insider claimed both teams were briefed on a strict no-comment policy to let the couple enjoy their time without interference. This silence, coming from people usually eager to shut down rumors, was the clearest confirmation yet. Meanwhile, other close friends, those not bound by contracts, began sharing subtle messages online. An actress friend of Elçin's posted a photo of a red rose and a flame emoji. A cousin of Barış shared a throwback of the actor smiling on a beach, captioned, "He always shines brightest near the sea." Perhaps the most telling sign came from the stars themselves. While they didn't post any photos of the trip, Elçin shared a cryptic poem on her Instagram stories one day after returning. Some meetings feel like remembering, not discovering. Like I've been waiting in sunlight for you to arrive without a word. It was deleted within 2 hours, but not before fans screenshot it and circulated it with captions like, "She's writing about him." Barış remained his usual quiet self on social media, but 2 days after Elçin's story, he posted a photo of a Spanish coastline seen from a boat. The caption was just 3 words, "Still echoing here." Insiders say neither of them planned this trip together. But something happened in Spain, something too real to ignore and too delicate to expose too soon. Thank you guys.